Welcome to the Event Engine Podcast. This is your host, Lee, and today we have on the show the one and only, it's Paul. How are you doing, mate?
Hi, Lee.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. Good.
Good. I'm having a bit of beard envy like I just told you a second ago. But
yeah, I envy myself.
So, folks, if you're listening, come onto YouTube and look at that beautiful
I don't
beard.
think of myself as bearded. Is that weird?
Well, no.
Yeah.
Neither do I. I just spend all my life...
Right. I sort of get a shock every time I look in the mirror. It's like,
oh, who's that guy? Who's that guy?
When did that grow?
So, Paul, for the folks who don't know who you are, could you give us a little bit of a potted bio of you as well as your company?
Yeah, I'll do my best. I am the co-founder and CEO of Tito, or Team Tito Limited, our real name. We build an app called Tito, which, as of a month or so ago, has processed over $1 billion worth of tickets sales worldwide in around the past 10 years.
Yep.
I built it because I started a conference in 2010 called FunConf.
FunConf. That's what it says on the tin?
Yeah. And I wanted, it could be a long story, but let's just say I wanted control over the software for selling tickets. And I was building software for other people, and I decided to build this up for myself. And 2 years later, we had our first customer. 2 years after that, we were able to quit our jobs. 2 years after that, I think we had gotten it to a reasonable level, and then the pandemic happened.
Oh, yeah, thanks, pandemic.
And then we built some pandemic trying resistance. We raised some money and spent lots of money. And since then, the classic app for selling tickets, it's still going, has about 700 customers worldwide, events, everything from local meetups all the way up to 10,000, 15,000 person events that you probably would have heard of.
Okay.
And we've just built this new app, IO, which is for kind of high-end invitation-only events, for like creating bespoke experiences for events that need to look really, really good.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's not go there quite yet.
Cool.
We'll kind of save the best to last then, shall we? But tell us then. Tell us about. I really want to just go in on this. Why did you want to control the event ticket selling process right back at FunConf?
Got it. So I had attended a conference called Build.
Okay.
Which was put on by an Irish chap called Andy McMillan, who went on then to build XO Fest in Portland, a beloved event. And he was very particular about the purchasing experience of tickets.
Yeah.
And when I bought tickets to Build, I clicked on a button to buy tickets, I paid, and then I had tickets.
Yeah.
And by gum, that felt revolutionary. Because some other events, I would click on buy ticket, and then I'd fill in my name, then my email, then my job title, then my location, then my cat's name, then my potted bio, then my teacher's name from school. And it was like, I just want a ticket.
I just want to turn up, please.
If you recall, like some of these websites have the 15-minute countdown timer. And I'm like, I only got 15 minutes to do this, and you're asking me for all this. And then I would add somebody else and have to put in all their information. It's like, I don't know Doc's cat's name. I just want a button to say, send the damn ticket to Doc.
Yeah.
So I just wanted a really elegant, simple pay and you have tickets.
Yeah.
And so that's what I built. I didn't even build a UI.
Yeah.
I just built a little thing that said, buy tickets to FunConf, pay on PayPal, and then you're back on the FunConf website saying you have a ticket.
Done. Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was so simple.
Yeah.
And often I think we lose sight of the effectiveness of experiences that are so simple that they feel like you haven't actually built in anything.
Well, there's something to be said about like Apple Pay. I spend more money because of Apple Pay all the time, because if a website has the option to Apple Pay it, I'm going to do that, because that means they get my email address, they're going to get my address to ship whatever it is to, and for me, all I need to do is double tap on the button and it recognize my face, and I've checked out. I've not had to register for that site and go through all those hoops.
100%, and we lose touch of this, and for example, we met on Blue Sky yesterday, and people are trying to solve, why is Blue Sky winning? Why is everybody moving to Blue Sky? And if you just think about all the things that it doesn't do compared to Twitter, it doesn't show you this algorithmic feed full of marketers telling you how to market your business that you never asked for. It doesn't have irrelevant content underneath a thread of us chatting about this thing. It's taken away all stuff that has kind of slowly been added to Twitter over the years that make it slightly worse each time, but we don't notice, and then we realize that it's terrible when you see the absence of it. So I'm really into that minimalistic experience. But then Blue Sky, there's a huge amount of technology underlying Blue Sky to make that possible.
Oh, yeah.
That was generally the idea as well. You still need to build the technology to make it work, but also trying to preserve that experience. And of course, Apple is a huge inspiration. I mean, I ran an Apple-themed conference for 7 years, I think.
Did you?
Called OOL.
Really?
The Irish word for Apple.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Because of that, I got to know a bunch of Apple-related conference organizers.
Can I show you something?
And the best was 2018 when I went to San Jose.
Look at this bad boy.
What? This is the original.
This is the second generation 2008 iPod Touch.
Holy moly!
I know.
That is beautiful,
isn't it?
So
battery
nice.
Still goes. Look at that. That battery. I charged that yesterday.
That's amazing. My kid would absolutely lose.
I know. And sorry, folks, if you're listening on the podcast, you'll have to go YouTube at this point. I'm showing him my iPod.
It's so cool.
Look, battery. They've both been on all day.
No way.
I'm in battery saver mode on the iPhone 12.
Do you use this to listen to music?
Yeah, I listen to music all the time.
What iOS version is it?
There's like 4, I think, or something like that. iOS 4.
So what you're saying is that sometimes we do achieve perfection and we just stop.
Exactly.
That is
We should have just stopped here, shouldn't we?
So beautiful.
This is simple. It plays music for me. It can't go on the internet anymore.
I want that for my kid, and they don't even sell it. Not that one. I want the... Because, I mean, presumably if they produced something of that power today, it would be thinner. It would be so thin you wouldn't be able to see it.
So thin, the battery would still only last a day.
Exactly. Holy moly, that's amazing.
I know.
Yeah, so doing OOL created this little mini network, and it ended up that I went to San Jose for WWDC, Apple's developer conference in 2018. And across the street was AltConf, Alt WWDC, ticket by Tito. Across the other side of the street was LayersConf, a design conference, ticketed by Tito.
Oh, how
cool.
Gruber
held his podcast for 1,000 people interviewing Apple executives. Tickets by Tito.
No way.
There was a band show. It was just brilliant. And all these things were linked on the Apple website. So
that's amazing.
In terms of like cool, like doing stuff like that and then ending up in California, feeling like you're really in the thick of it. It was wonderful. So that was one of the great memories of down through the years. That was 2018. So just before things started going a bit wild.
Yeah, a crazy couple of years.
Yeah.
It was all lockdown and everything.
Yeah, but we have been really lucky to have some great opportunities. Often among very nerdy adjacent. It's a lot of nerd adjacent stuff.
Well, you've just met a nerd because, like, who carries an iPod from 2008 in their pocket?
That is true.
Yeah.
But it's more just like to be able to say that the tickets for the official JavaScript conference on Tito for
how cool is that?
Official Ruby conference, brilliant. It was really good. And then showing up or getting the odd free ticket and knowing and seeing everybody scan their tickets in. It's really gratifying.
It's amazing though how your business started. Tito started literally from you saying, "We want to keep this simple, so I'm going to do it for my own event." Presumably you didn't think at the time, and I'm then going to make a really big business out of this registration platform. This is just mine for now. And then you're like, oh. Yeah, maybe other people could use this. Is that how it started, or was there a bit of you?
I'm guilty of just wanting to make something nice.
Yeah.
And then losing sleep now that I'm in my 40s and realizing that I could have built a big business around it and never did.
You're in your 40s, damn it. Oh, well, so am I. Welcome to the 40s. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's funny. You sort of, like, I don't have all that many regrets, but it's like, you can build nice software and put a bit of effort into the business side of things too if you want. I'm definitely guilty of letting the business come to us a little bit too much, but this is why I'm here today. And everybody we meet is like, "What's Tito? Tell us about Tito." Nobody knows about us, which the salespeople say, "Well, that's good," which I think it is good because if they haven't heard of us, then they're not even considering us.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So, now can we talk about that registration process a second? Because You mentioned earlier, didn't you? It's really annoying when you have to give your entire history just to register for an event. They want to know what industry you're in, how many employees you have, all that sort of stuff, and you've not even gotten to the credit card point. So you've probably already lost me. Hence my reference to Apple earlier. If you're offering me Apple Pay, I'm going to pay. I'm probably going to come to your event. Otherwise, if you're going to make me answer all these questions. On the flip side, though, devil's advocate, is an event organizer missing out on something if they don't capture that information, or is there a way of capturing that information later on?
Yeah, so we just inverted the process. Yeah. So the first screen by default on Tito is name, email, credit card.
Yep.
And then you press pay, and the first screen that pops up after you pay is now assign your tickets, and if you want to collect information there.
Yeah.
Typically we recommend not collecting too much, but we don't have a limit on it, so some people really do do the life history on that form, and it's not a great experience, but it is possible. So the idea behind it was that paying for an in-demand ticket is stressful.
Yep.
We just want you to make sure you get your ticket first.
Yep.
And then you fill in all the details otherwise. Now, the flip side of that is that most events are not actually high demand, and most events have to actually fight for attendees and work harder. So the optimizing for the case where there's 1,000 people trying to buy 50 tickets in 15 minutes, or whatever it isn't necessarily representative of most events and most event organizer experiences, but I still really like that it's name, email, pay.
I still think, so I sold an event a few years ago with just 100 attendees. And for me, making sure that I kept that purchase process as easy as possible, because it was a relatively high value ticket for the market. You know, we were charging 400 quid. That's not necessarily a cheap ticket for a conference. And we wanted to try and at least make it as easy as possible so that when the person, was like, oh, I'm going to go for it, we didn't give them too many opportunities to change their mind. They could go through and buy quickly. So it's kind of reducing that friction.
That's exactly the philosophy. Yeah. And some people love it, and some people just, I don't know, it's not their bag. But I've used it for all my events since I built it, and I'm always impressed when I buy a ticket for an event that's using Tito. I'm like, geez, you done good. This ain't bad.
Good.
This is like, I don't have all that many notes.
so tell me about the exclusive side. So you've got this new product. What's this all about?
So we had the opportunity to build the guest list for a very high-end event around this time last year.
Yeah.
And it was really, really fun to build. And on the back of that, then we brought in our first kind of external customer, which was the Deutsche Film Academy.
Okay.
So this is the equivalent of the Motion Picture Arts Academy in the United States that run the Oscars. So the German Oscars.
Nice.
And they have several thousand members, and they run events each year, and they're not paid. They're members' events, but they need to send links to register and accept RSVPs. And the tech guy there had asked ChatGPT, do you have a system that lets us send invitations to the platform? And Tito, the classic app, does have a little mini feature for sending these things, but they wanted it to tie the RSVP to an email address.
Okay.
And it was they reached out saying, can you do this? We don't want people to be able to change the email address. These are non-transferable invitations. And we were like, funny you should ask. We've just built this thing that does exactly that.
Nice.
So they onboarded last January, and they did, I think within about 4 days of them getting in touch, they were sending invitations to their member base it was their reception at the Berlin International Film Festival. And it just went really well. And so the shtick is that it comes from their email address. It doesn't come from a Tito branded email address. They land on their own website, so it's rsvp.deutschefilmacademy.com or .de maybe. The page is branded completely to their branding. The confirmation email is completely branded to theirs. The digital passes, the Apple Wallet Pass and the Google Wallet Pass is their branding. The whole thing looks like they've gone and spent a bunch of money building a bespoke system, but actually it's using IO. But we've just figured out how to front it.
Yeah.
Even if you view source on the landing pages, it looks like they've hand rolled it. It's really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And
not just an iframe then.
It's not an iframe, and it's not a theme inside of an external system. And what that allowed us to do is like it's not just minimal on the front end, because again, it's this principle. Like you go on a landing page and there's 2 buttons, attending or not attending. That's it. It just seems too simple. And then you click on attending, and if you need to put in additional information, again, it's the same thing. You put it in there. If you want to add your +1s, you can add a number of +1s. And it's a really, really simple app that does so many little things in ways that try to reduce friction. And I'm really, really happy with it. And it's very similar to Tito, but it is a slightly different use case. But all of the lessons that we've learned over the last 10 years of Tito, we've brought into this app. So for example, something that comes up that is so silly, but when you export data and then you pull it into a spreadsheet, and let's say you need to update a bunch of people all at once, we can track that, and then it's really easy to put the data back into IO with those changes. And then you can use that data to affect how certain things look or what they see. It's just what we're saying is that everything the customer sees can be customized.
Yeah.
And Intercom, for example, used this for their big product launch last month. And the first 150 invites that they sent they featured a custom message from the CEO inviting you personally to the event. And when they asked, could we do that? I was like, oh yeah, we can. And we didn't require any changes to what we'd already built, just because we've built it with flexibility in mind. And that was really gratifying.
Yeah.
So it was cool. So it's a different challenge, and it's also, to me, embracing the spirit of the web a bit more.
Yeah.
Because Tito was leading with this sort of platform mentality where you try and keep people on our domain and you try and own the process and you put your logo on anything. And I realized that is sort of it's not necessarily always the best experience. Mm-hmm. And the power of the web is that you can actually deliver different experiences on domain names per brand. And I feel like this is really embracing that principle of the web and not necessarily trying to silo everybody into one singular experience. Yeah. So I'm excited about what
everyone having to use Eventbrite, for example, and a lot of event organizers are using Eventbrite, aren't they? And people are going off to a completely separate platform. You're losing that kind of end-to-end brand experience. Really, ideally, what I'm hearing here is that I'm going to go to a particular website, and if they're using your kind of more bespoke version, then I'm enjoying an entire experience all within that brand. And
one of the inspirations there is, for example, Shopify. Yeah. Everyone's using their platform in the back end, but all the sites look and feel like the brand, and I think that vendors really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, that is so cool. What's the ideal kind of event who would want this as opposed to just the regular Tito?
It would probably... we don't do much in the entertainment industry. Yeah. And so, like movie premieres would be really cool.
Yeah. Movie premieres, if you're going to one, you know anyone who does movie premieres, then... Get in touch with.
I don't know all that much about that world, but that would be really cool.
I suppose exclusive networking events, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, these are all currently being served, like these kind of use cases. Yeah. The product launch one is really cool as well. It was really fun to go to Intercom's event as crew, and just to see the behind the scenes of launching their new AI product and seeing their top customers all piled into a room to hear the latest and greatest.
So invite led, but it doesn't have to be invite only, does it? You could actually just have this as we want the branded experience as well. So they're using that.
Yeah, we're leaning on invite only at the moment because we're sort of figuring like Tito is very general purpose. Like we have everything from spoon carving festivals to tech conferences on the Tito platform. Yeah. At the moment, I am kind of like thinking like, what if we became the very, very best at exclusive high-end events that were completely you had to get an invite to go, but I mean it's software, it can change. So
well, exactly. Well, you mentioned that earlier, didn't you? Can we add the name in? Actually, we can. It's not that hard, is it?
Exactly.
So now going back to Tito then, because it sounds like a lot of people listening would be interested in taking a look at that. People have their own web platforms, etc. How easy is it to plug Tito in to take event registration and then continue? And
super easy. So the platform, you can be up and running in 5 minutes. Okay. So if you have a Stripe account, it's even quicker. You just go in, you connect Stripe, you add an event, put your ticket live, and then you can be accepting payments on our hosted page. And then there is a JavaScript widget, but the JavaScript widget is so simple. Yeah. One line of JavaScript, and then there's this Tito widget element that you just put on your page where you want it to appear, and that's it. And it's magical, and I designed this, I think, just as people were talking about web components, and I got advice from somebody who was at Google just on the best way to do it, and it's just it worked then, and it works great now, and it's really it's almost too easy.
Nice.
And then we embed the entire checkout experience. You can opt to completely brand that experience if you want as well, or you can. This one does work in an iframe.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with an iframe.
There is nothing wrong with an iframe. It's just it's not quite If somebody views source, they can see that you're using Tito.
But that's only you and me as web developers who are going to view the source. Most people don't really care.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know, but I do like the idea of iterating it and figuring out ways for people to customize it. And from and there is an API that exists, but nobody's ever used it to do bespoke checkout experiences.
I'm very big on APIs because if I want something to look good, I want to be able to do everything myself and just pass data across, as opposed to because often you can't do much with the third-party tool with regards to colorization, fonts, and moving things around. And if it is in an iframe, then you're screwed because you can't use CSS.
And that's the thing. With the Tito one, you can opt to have it break out of the iframe and it just sends HTML down to your page, and you can use CSS to target everything. So it is really cool.
You thought of everything.
Yeah.
Happy days.
So it's all opt-in, but it's really, really nice, and it is super simple.
That's amazing. So that's TI.to. Nice to remember, TI.to.
IO, we got the domain yesterday.
Happy first birthday then, or happy naught birthday.
Happy first day. It's io.rsvp.
How
cool is that?
That is such a cool domain.
Isn't that really cool? I didn't know it existed until yesterday.
That's epic.
And I had a good old fight with the team about it. Can we get this? Can we get this?
Yeah. And you won, obviously.
Well, it wasn't cheap.
Yeah. Well, shall I guess? 500 quid.
Right, yeah, there or thereabouts. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's that's not the most we've spent on a domain.
Sure.
But io.rsvp, it just looks so cool.
Yeah, it's nice. And it does what it says on the tin.
It is exactly that.
It's that whole invitation only. I like this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to fast forward another year, catch up with you on the podcast, and find out what's happened.
Yeah.
You up for that?
Absolutely.
Nice one.
Love it.
Well, what's the best way for people to connect with you, mate? And then we shall say goodbye.
Well, why don't we promote Blue Sky? So
let's do that,
Yeah, my Twitter handle was at PaulCA.
Yep.
But I've made that private. But I also owned at paulca.com. So I connected that to my Blue Sky. So that's
nice.
why I'm
So, folks, this is how us two got to know each other randomly. I connected to Doc 2 days ago.
Amazing.
Because he shared something that I agreed with. So, and then I found that he was going to Event Tech Live. And I was like, all right. So he then connected us two.
Who'd have thunked it?
Who'd have thunked it, eh? That's amazing. And Blue Sky is just really, really nice, isn't it? Because I've come from this, I don't know what your experience with Twitter is, but mine has been very, a lot of people being very negative and miserable. And just going onto Blue Sky has felt like a breath of fresh air.
It was more that there were people on there who I wanted to hear from, and I would click on their tweets, and then underneath there would be an ad for something not so nice.
Yeah, not so nice.
I'm just like, I just want to see what my friend is saying. I don't want my brain to be tricked into thinking that it wants something that it definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
And Blue Sky, let's just say there's reasons for hope and reasons to be skeptical, but at the moment it is a lot of fun, and I think that one should sometimes just live in the moment, enjoy the moment.
Well, I'm enjoying the Blue Sky moment. I think they're at least at 15 million subscribers so far or something. So
20 million as of yesterday.
Oh, was it 20?
Yeah.
It's going
fast. It is.
Yeah, amazing. So there you go. One of the lessons. Let's see what happens this time next year. Will we still be using Blue Sky? Who knows? Mate, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
See you again soon. Cheers, buddy.
Love it.
That was awesome.